Hey, what's up guys? Jake Counts here for WeAreNotCattle.net. Gonna break down the Ann Coulter video where she is in a debate with a bunch of libertarians. And I want to show you some Republican neoconservative talking points as well as manipulation that Ann tries to use in order to get the crowd on her side because her points and her ideology is failing miserably. So, enjoy.
Welcome back to the Students for Liberty Conference. Now, most of you students consider yourselves libertarians. Why not Republicans? Is it because the Republicans want to go to war, or because they want to police what you can put in your body, or ban gay marriage? All right, well, Ann Coulter says we're out to lunch in objecting to those things. We are? Let's do one at a time.
Okay, war.
Real war, yeah.
Real
Iraq
war.
was good. We went into Iraq.
I'm for Iraq against Afghanistan, but to explain that in a way that I think libertarians should appreciate, there's one thing the federal government should be doing, well, maybe two: regulate interstate commerce and protect us from enemies. And the Republican Party position is we should intervene, go to war, do whatever it is foreign policy related when it makes America safer.
Notice how everybody in the audience's face, their eyes light up where they say, making us safer. That is a neoconservative talking point, is that we have to have preemptive wars, aka wars of aggression, in order to keep us safe. Neoconservatives, I would recommend that you look up the definition of blowback and you might rethink your policy. So continue, Miss Ann Coulter, with your rhetoric.
I'll say quickly why I think Iraq was a magnificent war was Saddam was dangerous to us. You can't have these crazed terrorists out there. It isn't 12 people by themselves who are flying planes organizing that terrorist attack. They're being funded.
But they weren't from Iraq.
Uh-oh. Looks like somebody knows that Saddam Hussein didn't fund the attacks on 9/11. Okay, Ann Coulter, put on your sidestepping shoes. Let's see how you get out of this one.
Saddam was certainly looking to help them, to fund them. He was seeking, as now two bipartisan commissions, both here in England, spent 6 months investigating. He was looking for uranium from Niger.
All right, well played. So, very nicely done. Let's see how she combats the next question, which might be a little more pointed.
It is a problem that you have all of these countries, some of them with very literate and pro-Western, pro-American populations, but they're led by crazy leaders. I'd say that includes Iraq, Syria, Iran. These are fantastic countries for regime change. You knock out the crazy...
We should go to war in all these places?
No, but keep that in mind, so you might want to fund the insurgents.
And we are off and running. Neoconservative talking point number 1. Preemptive wars, aka wars of aggression to remove leaders. How well did we do in Libya, you ask? Well, we did so well that we put in the Muslim Brotherhood that ended up chopping thousands of black people's heads off right after they came to power. So that looks like a legitimate government to me, Ann Coulter. Let's see how much further down the rabbit hole you can go with this thing.
All right, you'll get your chance to talk to her. Let's just cover two more briefly. The drug war is a failure. Get rid of it.
Oh, you libertarians and pot.
Okay, notice the manipulation, how she rolls her eyes, puts her head back, and then tries to minimize the fact that libertarians understand that the war on drugs is a fraud. See, here's a libertarian point of view, Miss Ann Coulter. We've woken up to the fraud of the Federal Reserve System. So therefore, we start looking and questioning other frauds, like the war on drugs. But you want to marginalize it and make it just about pot. It is not about pot. It is about putting nonviolent criminals in jail. Not the violent ones, the nonviolent offenders. So that is what libertarians are mad about. So continue, because this could get even more interesting.
First of all...
And heroin and oxycodone and all of it.
Look, this is why people think libertarians are... We're living in a country that is 70% socialist. The government takes 60% of your money. They are They're taking care of your health care, of your pensions. They are telling you who you can hire, what the regulations can be.
What's it have to do with the drug war?
And you want to suck up to your little liberal friends and say, oh, but we want to legalize pot. You know, if you were a little more manly, you'd tell the liberals what your position on employment discrimination is. How about that?
Once again, not sucking up to liberals, we just know that it's a fraud. And your position is so bad that you have to try to pull us to your neoconservative and say, look at what the liberals are doing. The liberals. Well, Ann Coulter, guess what? We don't like them either. We don't like you, we don't like them. So let's see how you combat this, because I'm going to assume that you're going to say that everybody that uses drugs or that chooses to use pot or whatever they want to use is some kind of welfare recipient. Let's see how well I can predict this, because this is the next talking point.
They do that
no,
too.
Oh, no, you don't. It's always, oh, we want to legalize pot and
lastly, before the students get to ask questions, gay marriage. Why can't gays get married like straights do?
Oh my God, look at her face right now. You better come up with something really genius, and come up with something that'll be really, really juicy for the Republican Party. Let's see what you come up with. Will somebody please tell me why Ann Coulter channeled a chicken at the very first part of this clip?
Well, they can. They have to marry a member of the opposite sex.
Why can't they marry a member of their sex?
No, I think this is another one where you're just sucking up to liberals when there are big fights. We really need to be having in a very
individuals should be left alone.
But my reason, it has nothing to do with libertarians or gays or anything else. Marriage is the most important institution to civilize young people, bring them into. I mean, I want to make divorce a lot more difficult too. Liberals want to destroy.
Okay, so here comes the manipulation. She is going to lecture you like mommy and say, listen up, libertarians. You need to listen to me because the liberals want to do X, Y, and Z, so you need to come to our party. Well, we don't want either one of you guys. So go ahead and give us your spin on it, Miss Ann Coulter.
This is an important point, libertarians. You listen to this. Liberals want to destroy the family so that you will have one loyalty, and that is to the government.
All right, you students, I'm sure want to weigh in here.
I really am just kind of annoyed with the fact that you are just perpetuating this stereotype that all libertarians are quote-unquote stoners. I have never smoked pot before.
I don't think you are
I never want to. I never want to try, in all honesty. The drugs that are illegal, I don't want to try any of them.
I don't think any of you are stoners. You're nerds. He asked me about pot legalization.
Once again, he did not ask you about pot legalization. He asked you about drug decriminalization and stopping the war on drugs. Once again, you got to isolate that one point of pot and make everything about that so you can tie that into a anti-liberal argument. This is so beautiful. Keep going, Ann. This is great. I think you're going to flounder in a minute, but keep going.
Question is, how is it any of your business what I choose to put in my body if I'm not affecting anyone else?
Let the lady answer.
Okay, now, Ann, play the victim.
Okay, first of all, for alleged individualists, you're very mob-like. Second of all, it is my business. It is
all right,
my
but the question is, why is it your
when we are living in a welfare state?
Beautiful misdirection. I don't have a logical answer for your question, so I'm going to misdirect and make it about the welfare state and the liberals. So keep running, Ann. This is going to be awesome.
You get rid of the welfare state, and then we'll talk about drug legalization. But right now, I have to pay for, it turns out, coming down the pike, your health care. I have to pay your unemployment when you can't hold a job. I have to pay for your food, for your housing.
But if, if someone's not using any of those programs in a hypothetical world or whatever, then would you be okay with it?
Oh my God, somebody help her. Stossel, please. Throw her a life preserver. Talk about the welfare state. Talk about socialism. Something. Throw her a life preserver. She's floundering.
If we didn't have a socialist country and you didn't have to pay for their drug use?
That's exactly the point I'm saying you guys ought to be concentrating on.
Thank you.
She won't answer the question.
I am
All right.
answering the question.
Thanks, I think.
I haven't answered the question.
Would you say all the drugs should be legal if we didn't have a socialist healthcare system?
I wouldn't care.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Robert Thomas from the College of Charleston, and I just first like to say you've just been lovely tonight, I think. You've been great. No, a lot of respect. But I kind of have a problem with the way that you're talking about gay marriage and the way the libertarians here are kind of talking about gay marriage, because I've kind of always seen the libertarian position on gay marriage as kind of a third way. We don't say what the liberals say, which is that, you know, the government should define it one way or the other. We say that the government should not be involved in marriage at all. My question is, what is wrong with that third way position that Ron Paul has advocated?
Well, again, we're way past that point. I think it would be very hard to achieve in any event, but the government issues divorce decrees, it issues alimony orders, it issues child support, child custody. We're beyond the point of saying, I just think government shouldn't be involved. They are involved.
Okay, next.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Irena Ruby from Drexel University, and I just wanted to ask, like, what gives you the idea that people who are in a third party, specifically because they won't compromise their beliefs, would hold an opinion just to suck up to a bigger party?
Because I think there are much bigger issues. If you are a genuine libertarian, there's an awful lot to be privatizing right now. I mean, why do we have an education department out of Washington, D.C.? When Ronald Reagan ran for office, why do we have a commerce department? Why do we have agricultural subsidies? We are living in a nation that's 70% socialist. There are serious issues where we can really use free marketeers. And what do you ask me about? Legalizing pot.
Once again, not about legalizing pot, decriminalization, because we know that's a fraud. And then you gave us a bunch of points that we all agree with you on because we don't like big government either. So, way to get everybody kind of on your side again, Ann, but let's see how you finish up this interview.
That's why I say you're sucking up to liberals. Oh, let's just say the things liberals will like. Let's tell them we're going to legalize prostitution.
Let's do a couple more here.
My question has to do with marriage and the fact that you just said that you think that it should be more difficult for people to get divorced. As an independent woman who has put myself through college, I'm in my senior year, went back to college, and also as someone who has bought my own home with my own money, I am going through a divorce, and this is the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do in my life. Why do you feel that it should be more difficult for someone to get divorced when something has not worked out?
Well, I don't know your personal circumstances. And I also don't like anecdotal examples, but I mean, when you buy a refrigerator, to break a contract to return your refrigerator is more difficult in most states than to break a marriage contract.
Did you even listen to the question? The girl says she's been trying to get divorced for a year, and you say you want to make it harder, and you're talking about a refrigerator? What in the heck are you talking about? Why don't you pay attention to the people that are asking you the questions?
It's very difficult.
Right.
It's been a year.
Right, it should be easier to get rid of a mechanical device.
It's been a year, and it's still very difficult for me.
Well, I don't know what the laws are in your state. They vary state to state. Yeah,
we can't solve that here.
Yes.
Obviously, you've pressed a lot of buttons. I thank you for that. Please thank her for going into the lion's nest, Ann Coulter.
Thank you, Ann Coulter, for 8 minutes of television and why the neoconservative party is going to die out. Because you guys can't use logic. All you can use is fear-mongering and anti-leftist rhetoric. So that's my breakdown, everyone. Remember to check out the YouTube channel, We Aren't Cattle TV. Check out the website, wearenotcattle.net. And also check out the radio show, We Are Not Cattle Radio. Thanks, everyone.